Humour and perspective can get you a very long way, and you are not going to believe the musical tastes of our next guest. Welcome to Daffy to Daffy. My name's Mark Bunting, and this is a little podcast we put together that, well, it takes that greedy, obnoxious little thing that no one wants called cancer, or Daffy, and we try and balance it with a spot of brilliance and resilience through some of our marvellous guests, and our wonderful guest is no exception to that rule. She is absolutely marvellous. I'd like you to meet the star of the show today. This is Paula. Paula, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And now, who are the guest stars we'll be talking about today?
Husband Michael, number one.
Yep.
And firstborn Scott and secondborn Carla.
Fantastic. All right. So we'll hear about these characters as we go through today. Now, you and Scott, did you say you've been together for nearly 50 years? Is that right?
Yeah. Michael and I have been together 50 years.
You and Scott have been together for somewhat longer.
I love you. Yeah.
Memory like a leaking sieve. Fantastic. Okay, so you and your husband, Michael, have been together for nearly 50 years.
Yeah, nearly 50 years.
Wow. Okay, and how long ago did this turn in your life happen?
2019, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. And I had radiation straight away. And then major surgery. And the surgery, so I'll tell my little story about having first surgery.
Yes.
So I was lying behind curtains under a sheet. Anaesthetist can't find my veins. I'm not very good with that. And the surgeon came through the curtain with his little cap on, his gown, and he looked at me and he said, okay, what music do you like, Paula? Well, let's go there. You know, what a fucking stupid thing to ask. I'm naked under a sheet and wants to know what music I like. So I said it, sorry.
That's all right.
And I said, AC/DC.
Rock on.
His eyes rolled. I know, I saw that little smile, and he said, what song? And I just said, Thunderstruck. And he said, that's fine. Gown, pulls his gown right up into his pocket, phone out. Yeah. Punching it, that went on my belly, and he said, I'll see you in a few minutes. I don't remember that. I remember music on my belly as I went through swing doors, and then I was gone.
Wow. So when you hear, you're asleep.
Yeah, so a few days later in hospital, they're all standing around my bed with their clipboards and waiting for me to say something, I think, unique. And my surgeon, Jason, said to me, very interesting notes you have, very anxious patient, but great choice of music. Surgical team loved it. And that's on my notes. On
your medical records forever.
On my medical records. And then for the next, so staying with the music for the next 16 months, I went to my GP a lot. That was part of my treatment. And there's 6 doctors there, and my doctor came out every time with his arm in the air, phone in his hand, rocking out Thunderstruck. Somebody here in the waiting room wants this.
Oh, wonderful.
And everybody would look at me, and I would rock in, didn't want to rock, but I would rock into his room to Thunderstruck.
Awesome. Did you actually like AC/DC before that, or was it just the first one?
I didn't have any. I had one CD that my kids gave me for my 50th birthday, I think.
Yeah.
And I took it to work. I worked with old people, all sitting around. I said, it's my birthday today. I'm going to share my present with you. Some of you will like it, some of you won't. And I put the CD in. I had the thing in my pocket and rocked out Thunderstruck.
Oh, awesome.
Only for 20 seconds. And the manager walked in and said,
really?
yeah, stop that. So
we won't be having that fun malarkey around here. No.
So the music, 16 months later, I was behind the same curtain, covered in a sheet. Another anaesthetist can't find my vein, and I'm waiting for the surgeon to come through the curtain to say, don't want Thunderstruck, I want Highway to Hell. And he didn't come in. But wheeling down into theatre, Thunderstruck was playing in theatre when I got in there.
You're famous for it now. That's absolutely magnificent. So how do you feel about AC/DC now?
Oh, I have the Sound radio station on, and they play a lot.
They'll be pleased to hear that.
A lot of
they do,
AC/DC.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So it's a beautiful way to walk through something that some people would see as quite frightening, quite horrible. Were you scared during that?
With my
Your
diagnosis.
diagnosis and then the surgery and the
Yes,
likes?
I'm not a very good patient. I don't like needles.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that seemed to be a priority in the hospital. Every morning a trolley would come around with the blood lady, and I could just pull tears out straight away, and they're so
yeah.
nice to me. It's all
Yeah.
right, Paula, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
When I came out of hospital, one of the worst things, they tried to teach me how to put a Clexane needle
A Clexane needle, what's that?
in my belly. I don't know, to stop infection, I think,
Okay,
for 1 month.
Yep.
Well, I don't even look at the needles, so they had to teach Michael how to do it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
every night at 6 o'clock, news came on. I'd sit on the couch crying, tummy going up and down, and Michael would come out with a needle and say, "Stop crying, your tummy's going up and down."
Oh, wow.
Needle.
Wow. So how much medical stuff did Michael know before all this?
None.
Nothing at all?
None.
Wow. It's quite common you hear that, the partners and the support people
So
become
I
experts.
had an ileostomy bag,
Yeah, what's an ileostomy bag?
and so you don't have a bowel, you have a bag,
Oh, yeah.
a
yeah.
bowel on the front of you.
Right.
And in the hospital, Carol, the lovely stoma nurse, she said each day, "Now I'm going to teach you how to change the bag."
Okay.
Not me. That wasn't going to happen. I
Right.
didn't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
So Michael was standing there. So Michael was given a lesson on how to take it off, change it for me.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of bad issues with it, but every second day I had a little buzzer in the bathroom and I would press it, and in
Yeah.
the kitchen, ding, dee, 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 and Michael would come in with the bag under his arm, keeping it warm.
Yeah.
He would get on his knees in front of me and I would be crying, tummy going up and down. He'd be
Yeah.
saying, "Stop crying, your stomach's moving.
Nice.
I've got to line it up." You have no control over your bowel.
Right.
Don't shit on me. I only did it once. It squirted all over him. Sorry. You're all laughing. I know.
I know, and we shouldn't, but by crikey, what a scene,
He was absolutely amazing. I would never have survived without him.
Yeah, what a wonderful man. Yeah.
And yes.
Has it? It's a really strange thing to ask, but has it been great for your relationship, or?
I don't think any different. We're
Right.
just
You've always been that close.
We're just
Yeah. Tell us the story. There's a beautiful story that you managed. You told our team here about being in bed together during treatments, or you're just about to check out. How does that roll?
Yes. Michael was having a few issues with his bowel, and he'd had a little bit of surgery. And the day that I was being allowed to come home, I rang him and said, 12 o'clock, "I'm allowed to come home, Michael." And he said, "Well, that's going to be difficult because I'm in ward 18 above you."
Oh, he's straight above you.
Above me. And I said, "Why?" And he said, "I had a burst, I forgot, perennial abscess or something."
Yeah.
And he got himself to the hospital, straight into the ward. They said, "Just go." Same surgeon, okay?
Oh, brilliant.
We had the same surgeon.
Yeah.
And they put me in a wheelchair, took me up. And the nurses up there thought it was funny because we're both in a hospital nightie.
Yeah.
And they let me stay another night. And Michael spent the night lying on my bed waiting for his surgery.
That is wonderful.
So that was quite cute, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So it made it into the newspaper at where we live.
Yeah.
And it's got here, Michael and Paula were in A&E, then the same ward after surgery. Staff said, "How cute. Together, forever, in sickness and health. Same hospital, same surgeon, same ward."
Yeah.
Some people take their marriage vows far too seriously.
Same time, everything. That's just awesome. You've brought a few props with you, actually. Can you tell us about this photo here, please? Now, those who are listening to this, let us... let's just describe it. Describe the photo by what the name of those is.
Okay, so these are willy warmers.
There we go. You just painted a picture in everybody's mind straight away. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually not quite right.
Right.
So when I came home from chemo, they would attach a little bottle to me, pumping chemo for 24 hours or something. And it was attached to my PICC line
Right.
And it came in a bum bag, so you look like you're bigger than I usually look.
Righto.
And my 90-year-old neighbour said, "That's very cumbersome. I'll get a tape measure." And she came back with a tape measure, measured the little bottle,
Yeah.
and she knitted little bottles with a cord to go around your neck, and the bottle could sit in there.
Oh,
so
wow.
two neighbours knitted frantically for 6 months, and every time I went into the chemo ward, I filled the little basket with hats and willy warmers.
Oh, wonderful.
They nicknamed them willy warmers. I didn't.
Yeah, of course.
So there would have been 100 or so, and now I see here they've got a basket of hats, and maybe I might get the knitters going again.
Yeah, I think so. Tell us about the power of community in that. You talk about people suddenly knitting and the likes. People really rose up for you, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. So Morrinsville Cancer Support Group, I knew nothing about, but a woman that leads it, Lenny, used to come to our door, once a week, knock, and she'd bring 2 muffins or 2 scones or something. And when she finally got in, she said, "You need to come to our support group." Well, I didn't want to go to a group of people that were all sick, sitting around a table. I couldn't think of anything worse, but she was describing, it's not quite like that, it's not quite like that. So eventually my barrier came down, and I went to the support group with Michael, and you don't sit around talking about how sick you are. They have guest speakers, and we have a lot of fun. It dragged Michael in, not dragged. He's now treasurer.
Ah, there we go.
And we're very involved, and with Relay for Life, we walked, and we're very involved with that and organise lots of things. We work in the kitchen making food for different organisations, and the money goes to cancer.
You talked about the idea of thinking it was just a whole bunch of sick people sitting around a table, and there's a certain stigma that goes with this whole journey, isn't there?
Yes.
And how has your impression of the whole journey changed?
Well, I have more. My sister's a good example. Perhaps I shouldn't talk about her, but she's a theatre nurse for 35 years, and she said patients came in, cut open, and gone, and she never really sort of thought about their journey here and their journey afterwards until I rang and said, "Guess what?" And she said she feels that she should have followed up with some of the people she knew because of me. And she had a better idea, and I'm now more not sympathetic. That's not the right word.
No, but
I just didn't know people. I've been perhaps more graphic than some people. I share some.
You do.
I share.
I love you for it. It's fantastic.
I share some funny story. Well, not funny stories. Our 90-year-old neighbour. She's had 6 kids, and she said she's learnt more from her. Bust down to her knees about her body through me than she ever learned having all her kids.
Having
and that.
6 kids.
And she smiles every time I go to her door. I sit with her a lot, and she says, "You make me laugh, you make me smile."
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Your son Scott's had a bit of an education too, I hear.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, that's probably something I shouldn't talk about. He's in Queenstown and said he would fly up after I'd had my surgery.
Okay, yeah.
And he's talking to Michael on the phone on my first day in bed, which I don't remember, and he said he didn't know what a ileostomy bag was and what's happening. So Michael stood at the end of the bed, sheet off, and took a photo. So I had tubes hanging out of everything they could stick into me, whatever, and the bag.
Yeah.
And he flicked it off to our son, who was 42 or whatever, has never seen my bum, let alone my new one, hanging on my stomach. And his words, I didn't actually hear the words, but he came up a week later, and I was in the bathroom, and he apparently said to Michael, "Do you think I could have a look at Mum's bag?"
Yeah.
And Michael said, "Well," so there was a knock on the door, and Scott said, "Can I just have a quick look?" And he had a quick look, and he said, "Jesus, Mum, that's worse than I thought."
Wow.
And the door shut, And so he was very different with me after that.
Is that right? Yeah.
A lot more, I don't know, not sympathetic, but...
bit more understanding.
understanding.
Yeah, nice. It's been quite a growth journey for all of you, hasn't
Oh,
it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And look, here,
Yes.
I had treatment and I was told I could stay here
Yeah.
in the lodge, but we live close enough in Morrinsville too. I didn't need to do that.
Right.
But very appreciative of what the Lions and what this does for
Yeah.
cancer patients.
Oh, it's a remarkable thing, isn't it?
It is remarkable.
Because all that stuff you're talking about, those conceptions that have been changed just by sharing with other people, they can do that here at the Cancer Society Lions Lodge, and they can sit around tables and talk about stuff that people don't talk about normally.
No.
And quite graphically, and there's a lot of support in that.
I know. My surgeon, Jason, I had my surgery on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Happy
that could
Valentine's Day.
only happen to me. So every Valentine's Day, 3, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I go outside, I take a photo of a rose or a flower, and I email it to my surgeon. I have his email address, and I put on it, "Thank you for your experience and your talents and saving my life. I love you to bits."
Wow.
Paula Brody, and send the photo and whatever words. He answers immediately, so he hasn't got somebody else cut open on Valentine's Day.
Right, yeah.
That was
Excuse me,
that was
gonna go-
me, yeah.
Yeah.
And he answers immediately and says, "Thank you, be well, keep well, be
That's
safe.
awesome. How special was that?
How kind regards, Jason."
Yeah, but they don't teach you that stuff, I'm sure, at medical school. This must be stuff where they they learn by dealing with people like you.
Absolute. Well, I think he found me fun sometimes. Yeah.
I can't imagine why. Crikey,
No.
he says sarcastically.
I was born in National Women's.
Yeah.
No, not National Women's. What? Campbell Johnson.
Okay.
Is it Campbell Johnson?
Yep. I go to hospital.
And I've never been sick. So when you get sick, do the whole thing at once, Paula. Get the whole thing together and do it. And I was in a bed by a window, and Campbell Johnson building was just there.
Wow.
So I did a circle of life, and I didn't quite make it back to where I started. There was a little gap. And I used to look at it, and I told my surgeon, he was sitting on the windowsill, and I said, "I was born there, and I'm here. Shall I be over there?"
Yeah.
He did the eye roll again. Yeah.
Sounds like eye rolling seems to be quite a thing you see quite a bit. So tell me, with how long ago was all of this? It was about 2 years, 3 years ago.
2020.
2020, so 3 years ago.
2020, yeah.
Almost 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a photo. I've had lots of photos taken from the first one.
Yeah.
A lot of them I'm lying in a lazy boy chair with a beanie on, very skinny, dressing gown, feet up, looking terrible, and always had on my lap a little bowl of lollies or potato chips.
Yeah.
Michael would give me in the thing to make the TV change, but I slept all the time. So Michael's taken, I've got about 6 or 7 of those terrible photos and some graphic ones of PIC line, that disaster, and stitches and lots of things. And I found a photo album in the Photoshop called My Little Book of Happiness. Amazing.
Yeah.
So it has my whole history through there in photos. Michael won't let me have it on the coffee table.
I can't imagine why, because there's small relatives coming around.
It's not for, I'm trying to think what I haven't told
Tell
you.
me about you before all of this happened, because, I mean, this doesn't define you. I mean, you've obviously got one wicked sense of humour, hell of a sense of humour.
Okay, so for 25 years I worked in a big rest home, and I was activities coordinator.
Oh, okay.
So it was my job to make them laugh,
Yep.
to make them come out of their rooms, and played games and drove a van and took them out places.
Wonderful.
And it was my thing. I loved it.
Are you still involved in any way? Or?
Okay, Michael retired, and we lived in Orewa, and to downsize in Orewa, you actually had to upsize financially. So we decided we'd come home to Morrinsville, where we were both born and grew up.
Yeah.
And so we came home and we retired. I had to stop work because we shifted and was unable to get into any of that sort of facility when I tried. And we were going to travel and do all the things that you do when you're retired.
Yeah.
and I got bowel cancer.
Right.
So we've been 6 years where we are, and the last 4 or so years have been a wipeout.
And how? So, but you've wandered into this little studio upstairs here at the Cancer Society Lions Lodge quite happily.
I'm not quite
Obviously,
sure why they chose me to talk.
Oh
Yeah.
no! I've many reasons. One, because you're brilliantly funny for a start. Two, you've got a great story to tell. But you're obviously quite mobile.
Oh yes, yeah.
How was life now?
I do have issues, and I'm not going to tell you about that. But was it? Yeah, Jack Nicholson had 3 things. I'm not going to look at you.
Go on.
He has, never pass a toilet or something.
Yeah.
Never waste a hard on. And and never trust a fart. Not my words. And I hear people at the cancer support group say, they wouldn't, don't fart because that could be
the real thing.
And so I have to watch. I'm very good.
Very good indeed.
Very good. Yeah.
Places I never ever thought this interview would go. This is fantastic.
And I have peripheral neuropathy, which you get from chemo.
Well, what does that mean?
So it's nerve-ending damage to your feet mostly and up to my knees.
Okay.
Shower hurts my head still. Water.
Yeah.
So later in the afternoon, I have trouble with my feet.
How does that get? Do they cut nerves or something when they're doing surgery on you or something? How does that start?
I can't answer that. But
Okay.
it's caused by chemo.
Oh, I see.
Every time you go into the chemo ward, they sit with you and say, "How's your fingers? How's your feet?" So it's obviously. So I was meant to have 12 rounds of chemo, and they cut it back to 10 because I could hardly walk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the damage was done. In hindsight, they could have stopped it a little bit sooner.
Righto. Okay.
But anyway, that's all right.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to live backwards? So you and Michael, you are due for your 50th fairly soon. You got plans?
Yes, today.
Today?
We booked to Fiji today.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Yeah.
So, that's a different story.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, when we got married, we went to Fiji. And there's a little island off Denarau called Beachcomber.
Yep,
and
I know
it's
Beachcomber,
a party
yeah.
island.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
And
yeah.
with the rock radio station, I try and enter that every year to go in October.
Outstanding.
Yes, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
So we went there for a couple of nights, young people, and then back to wherever we stayed. So on our 50th wedding anniversary, we went back to relive our honeymoon. And we went out to Beachcomber Island.
Yeah.
We were the youngest there by 40, 50 years.
The
I
youngest.
think.
Right, yeah,
Youngest
of course.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was hilarious. We were treated like grandparents.
Oh, how
and
cool.
we had such a lot of fun. But we did try and replicate all our photos. So we stood in the same position by the pole, smiling.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still had my bikini.
Nice, nice.
No, the
Not nice.
pants only come up to the knee. Can't get them any higher. And the little thing. So I lay behind a hibiscus bush with the bikini on me, and we've got the same photo. It doesn't look quite the same, and that's not going to be shown to anybody.
We're not bringing that out. Okay.
No.
That
So
is outstanding.
60th, we're going back there, and I'm not quite sure what we'll do there.
Oh, heavens to Betsy. That sounds magnificent.
And I don't have cancer. I have blood tests, and I'm
Yep.
cancer-free.
Did it ever worry you that, going through that, did you have those thoughts that this could be the end? And
I thought I was going to die. I
Right.
did,
Yeah.
and I wanted to.
You wanted to?
Yes, because it was pretty yuck.
Yeah.
And I said, I've had a good life and time to go, but,
They weren't ready for you.
they weren't ready for me.
Keep making those jokes,
So-
and you ain't going up there in a hurry.
I know.
That's awesome. So, so was there a point where that kind of changed for you? Like you suddenly thought, actually, you know what, I'm coming through this?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that happened. And the cancer support group and, doctors and that, they tell you,
Yeah.
you're okay.
Wow.
You're okay.
Yeah. How did that feel?
And I don't think I was as sick as a lot of people. I wished people not to be in the chemo ward when I saw them each fortnight. And I wouldn't like to be. I didn't see me, but...
Was it hard being a support worker for yourself?
Yeah, I suppose so. My next door neighbour got cancer
Yeah.
towards the end of mine, and she had to have chemo, and I became her care person.
Wow.
I came in the health shuttle with her every fortnight and sat in the chair beside the bed that I used to lie in, and
Yeah,
she'd lay
nice.
on it.
Yeah.
And I sat there thinking, it's not me, it's not me.
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
cool though, and you've learned a heck of a lot along the journey.
Oh, absolutely. I've met you and a smiling background here.
Oh, wonderful team at the Lions Lodge. Eh? They're awesome here. They're
Yes,
good fun.
well, I'm learning that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, look, we've got 2 minutes left. If there was anything...
What can I tell you in 2
No.
minutes?
You've told us so much. But if there was anything that you could tell people who were going into this journey at the beginning of it, what would it be?
That, yes, you go in and there is an exit out, and some people it might not be a good ending, but you have so much support and there are cures for cancer and the support's there and you're fine. I lost all my hair and I got a wig.
Right.
I got my hair. It grew back, so did my eyebrows, so did my eyelashes.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that back again.
Yeah. Well, saves a certain effort, I suppose, yeah.
So, people are there to help you all the time.
Yeah, nice.
It's right there.
And
I'm fine.
beforehand, you wouldn't have even known that any of it was going on around you.
No. Why me?
Yeah.
Why me? Yes, I was very active. I played tennis twice a week and worked. And, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And
Fantastic.
then suddenly, bang.
Yep. And through you went. Yeah.
Big cancer, lots of scars and issues
And stories.
and I'm a big baby.
Yeah. I'll go on with you.
I am. I can cry easily.
Yeah, well, it's handy to have. It's handy to have. Look, thank you very much, Paula, for being so candid. It's just been awesome, hearing your stories.
You're going to delete some of that.
We are not going to delete a single thing.
Oh,
no.
my goodness. Okay.
That's all right. We'll get the lawyers onto it later. We'll just say it. No, it's fantastic. I want to put a big shout out to Michael and Scott, who have been characters in the story, and obviously all the staff, the surgeon with the thunderstruck, your sister, the everyone you've dealt with. I just want to give big shout outs to them because it takes a whole family, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
To go through
And the
this journey.
cat.
And the cat, got to thank the cat. Meow. Yep. Brilliant. So this has been yet another podcast of Daffy to Daffy. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we just hope it's given you a little bit of made some pretty weird smiles happening during this last half hour, and that you don't feel quite so alone in this little journey that you may or may not be going through. All the very best. I'm Mark Bunting. This has been Daffy to Daffy, and as they say, that's all, folks.